Oh no! Face reveal, accidentally. Alright. That should be good. I've not streamed from my phone in quite a while, so give me some slack. Howdy, welcome. Ooh, I'm just setting up the tripod still. That should hopefully be stable, or as stable as it's going to be tonight. Oh, that's not stable at all. Am I coming through clearly? Because I'm straight up just streaming from my phone. I have no idea what the quality's going to be like. Oh, well, welcome back. Sorry you're ill. I apologize that we're painting Plague Marines tonight. It's some unfortunate timing. Alright, I have to go get some water for my paint cups and a few other supplies, and I'll be right back. Wow, I did not plan this through. Yeah, give me a sec. Here's our second paint cup. Okay. So, these two here are the main two dudes we'll be working on tonight. As you can see, I got the bases done already last night, and that's just because the texture paint takes a couple hours to dry. I want these guys to be completely done by tonight, so forgive me for skipping that part. Ideally, when we're done, we'll have a finished product similar to this. And with these last two guys painted, this entire team will be completed. Thank you. And just keep these finished guys in the background. A little sneak peek of what's to come. Alright, finished guys are chilling back there. Got the two main dudes we're doing tonight. And then here's a quick look at all the paints we'll be doing, or using. I'll show them off one by one as we start using them. Yeah, the first most important part we'll be doing is just painting everyone green. So there's the Death Guard green we're using. This isn't a custom paint scheme for these guys. This is, if you buy a box of Plague Marines, this is how they're painted on the box. I went with that. One, because it's easy. Two, because it's a pretty nice scheme. Games Workshop surprisingly has a lot of good schemes for their front-facing factions. And while I like to change it up sometimes, I decided to go the easy route with this group. I apologize, my palette isn't on screen, and it won't be for most of the night just because If it were in the frame, that would be a bit awkward to paint around. But all I'm doing is taking a few healthy globs of paint, throwing it down in the wet palette there, and we'll add 1 or 2 drops of water and just water it down a bit so you can get a couple thin layers on. You never really want to paint your base coats with 1 layer. It's a bit of a meme in the community. You want 2 thin coats for basically anything you do. So that's what we're going to try and maintain. Yeah, let's start with this cleaver guy first. He's the one I'm more excited for. So yeah, just breaking out one of my, oh man, keeping these guys in focus is going to be a challenge tonight. I recall, I think I streamed painting once before we started the channel, and this was the biggest fight, trying to keep everyone in focus. I'll keep him there. Oh, Parker, what up? Welcome. You don't gotta subscribe. You're a fucking channel owner. I guess in order to skip ads and stuff like that, it'd be nice, but... Okay, yeah. Hopefully with those guys out of the background, this will stay in focus a lot easier. So yeah, first step, get one of your bigger brushes. And this one doesn't look too big, but it's the second largest brush I have, so get it loaded up with that green, and just paint this everywhere we want green armor. This is the easiest step, probably the most boring if we're being honest, because I'm just essentially covering this whole guy in green. I actually could probably go 1 brush size higher, but I'm here now. Yeah, the plan is, depending on how fast I get through these guys, if I do finish them, I'll move on to some of my orcs, just because I have a lot of greens out already, and orcs are green, so save paint, save time. Jester, what up? Are you breaking out fucking "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared" references? Or are you trying to get on Santa's naughty list last minute? Either way, that'll work. Oh man, the willpower is straight up the hardest part of painting. Like, I'm not a real good painter by any stretch of the imagination, but I think my work is pretty serviceable. And even though I know this and I'm slightly confident in myself, the hardest part straight up is just starting. Oh, Parker, we know you're on the naughty list. With the week you've been having? With the things you've been posting? Our brand is to be as unmarketable as possible. I say, having you 3 just sat through ads, I assume, to view this content, but I think that might be the end goal. Get banned from Twitch, but not for, like, problematic reasons, but for fucking we can't advertise these people reasons. So, as I mentioned at the start of the stream, I did the bases first, because here's what it's going to look like when they're finished. But that texture Crackle Paint takes usually, I like to let it dry overnight whenever I use it. But I wanted these models to be near finished when we were done tonight. So I did that first. The reason I don't do that first usually is because now I'm going to have to be very careful when I paint around these boots and whatnot. Oh, no, Jester, please keep ad blocking us. We are not in this for the money, we're in this for the art and the entertainment. And all the other... oh crap, what's the word? Not vitriol. Valorous reasons? Honorable. Yeah, let's go with honorable. Oh, I feel that, Ace. I have no formal training in this or in any sort of artistic medium. I imagine if I tried to paint on a 2D plane, the results would not be as good as what's gonna happen here. That's a lot of nuts. One important thing when you're painting, one very important thing to remember, is much like me, you want the brush to always be wet. If it starts drying out, it'll... well, it can damage the brush, and just keeping it wet helps maintain those too thin coats. Yeah, tonight's going to be very ASMR-y, with the soothing sounds of my breathing, potentially cats munching, and eventually when the furnace kicks on, we'll all hear that. It's just going to be an audio hellscape for about 10 minutes when that happens. Although I guess now that I have a captive audience, I can just fill the dead air with Warhammer lore. I've tricked you all. This isn't a painting stream. This is a Graham Explains It All, but for Warhammer. My evil plan is coming to fruition. And 2 cats just ran out of the crawl space. Oh, damn. Lorehammer is very good. That is almost certainly taken by a larger channel or Games Workshop themselves. Like right there, there's no way that anyone else has that or hasn't claimed that branding. Mike! Come here. Come help me. And yeah, as you may or may not be able to tell, I'm not being very careful at all with where this paint goes. And that's because, by virtue of being the first layer, if you get any paint where it's not supposed to be, you can just cover it up. And really, if you're painting any sort of battle damaged or like grungy army, any mistakes you make just add to the flavor. So like, it's my pro tip to anyone out there who wants to get into this, start with a dirty ramshackle army, because any mistakes you make, just add to the flavor. Now we have our first guest of the night. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage. Oh, Mr. Milo. Nope, that's Gus. Son of a bitch. Got my cat's name wrong. Gus, anything you want to say to our audience? Nope. Just content sitting on my finished models. Oh, man, you should not be sitting there, buddy. If you're going to sit there, at least sit gently. She's just silently judging me now. Fantastic. Ooh. It's going to be a pain to get to under there. Yeah, when I was building this set, I didn't follow the instructions one for one. I took some parts that were supposed to be on other dudes and put them on this guy. Like, I think this chest piece and this weapon aren't supposed to go together because they oh no, it's for the next guy. The next guy, you'll see the chest piece and the weapon are very close together, which will give me basically zero room to paint in there. And it's just because I had to be special, because I liked this chest piece better than the other one that was supposed to go for this guy. So yeah, when we get to him, painting his chest piece is going to be a pain, but that's okay. Most of it's going to be green, and once the green's on, we can forget it. God damn, Parker. Isn't this your vacation week? Not that all that doesn't sound relaxing, but should you not be chillaxing a little harder? Maybe you're just that dedicated to chillaxing. I mean, fair enough. I was just gonna say you're so dedicated to chilling, you got 3 hobbies going on at once. Alright, first coat's almost done on him. I think I'm going to do his backpack, though. Okay, yeah, I did the other guy's backpack green, so let's slap some green on this dude's backpack real quick, and then while he's drying, we'll move on to the second guy. Another real good useful tip for painting, especially painting like units or a bunch of the same figures. Just paint in batches, one color at a time. So when the green's done on this guy, we're going to move on to that guy, paint him green, then move back to this guy, throw on some details, and back and forth until they're both done. Gerald Ford might have been a bastard in every conceivable way, but damn if he didn't pioneer the absolute best way to paint miniature figures in a timely fashion. Gerald Ford is the president, not the dude who started the Ford Company. Son of a bitch. Was no one going to correct me on that? Who was the bastard that helped, like, really kickstart capitalism? Or at least its modern day application. Which Ford am I thinking of? I mean, okay, fair, but on the other hand, dunking on me is always pertinent. Oh man, this dude's got a severed head. That's gonna be fun to paint. Worry about that in a second. Henry Ford. Close enough. Gerald, Henry, they're basically the same name. Real quick Gus intermission. Oh. He likes the brush cleaning. Gus, anything to say now? Nope. I'm just gonna silently judge, as cats do best. Oh, you know what? There's a Gus cam while I get some more paint on my palette. Blake, what's good? You came at the best point. Doing a little Gus intermission. Oh no. There he goes. Nope, nope, you can't drink that water. That's not water for cats. That's swamp water. No. Well, I hope you like the gurgling, because you're about to get a whole nother dose of it in a couple seconds here. Couple months ago. Wait, hold on, here you go. Yeah, a couple months ago. It was probably the first time I was painting in front of the kittens. I think it was Milo, actually. But he came up and started sniffing the water cup. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'll let him take a drink. He'll realize that he can't drink it. And then we'll move on, and that lesson will have been taught. And no, Milo just powered through, and apparently taught that to Gus, because they just like Citadel paint water. I do not recommend anyone here drink paint water. It does not taste good. I have partaken before, and I don't recommend it. But yeah, now that our cleaver guy back there is drying, move on to this flail guy. It's, as much as I love that comic, I can tell you that the paint is never banging. If anyone would like a healthy serving of paint water, feel free, I can provide. Just don't say I didn't warn you. You know what? We're going to actually use the figure holder for this one. Yeah, same deal as last time. Just going to be real messy with it. Coat him entirely in green. And if paint gets where it's not supposed to, ah well, it's just part of the process. I mean, it's a good question, Flake. Are you asking for yourself, or are you just asking, like, in general, if one were looking to get started? Or are you, as a person, asking? I'd say, in general, a good place to start is just, some, like, introductory lore stuff. Just some quick, like, overview videos on YouTube. There's this one guy, Bricky, who does like an overview of all the factions. That's a real fun watch and pretty accurate if memey, but it gives you a nice detailed look into all the players in the 40k universe. But if you were looking to like play the game and actually get started with the hobbying aspect of it, you have to decide first which game you want to play, because Warhammer has a couple different games. The most popular, of course, is 40k, which, you know, you build your huge armies and you fight, you know, big army scale battles. Or there's Kill Team, which is a lot smaller squad-based stuff. This is actually right next to me. It's a little cluttered, but this is the size of a Kill Team board, and you usually take between 5 and 10 guys. It's a bit smaller. Each guy's a bit more individually kitted out for different things. Yeah, once you decide which game style you'd like to play, then you gotta pick a faction. And for that, again, I say, you know, hit the internet, read some lore, and really find a faction you think you'd like, that you just really like the lore of. Because if you don't like the guys you're painting and building and crafting and putting all this work into, you're not gonna like playing them as much. It's happened with a few guys I know where they first got into it and they looked up like meta lists and it ended up being like Space Marines, and while Marines are cool in their own right, they're, you know, kind of poster boy and just all-rounders, and they don't have a lot of like uniqueness to them in a lot of ways. So after all is said and done, he had his army built and he was just like, I don't really like him that much, and he switched on over to one of the alien factions, and which he did because he just liked their lore and their stories more, and he had a much better time doing that. Oh man, Parker's also running Swamp Boys. Hell yeah. Shout out Papa Nergal. Yeah. I joked earlier, but I can give a quick 40k primer. Because the basics of 40k is that everything is terrible, everything is awful, none of the factions are redeemable, and I mean, it's literally in the tagline, but this is the grim dark 41st millennia, and a lot of the humor and a lot of the fun comes from everything being so insanely dark that it's just absurd. Like Orcs, for example. You know, they're the generic bad guy in most fantasy and some sci-fi settings. They're brutish, they're violent, ugly. You know, the usual orc tropes. In this universe, they're the comic relief. That's how, like, dark everything opposite them is. Also, what can I say, Parker? I can say a lot of things. Oh yeah, Jester's God. Blood for the Blood God. And Parker, you're not trying to tell me that talking about Papa Nergal is blasphemy. First of all, it's N-U-R-G-L-E, so jot that shit down right now. I can't believe you would come into the stream essentially dedicated to Nergal and just put him on blast like that. It's so rude. Papa Nergal doesn't care who you are. He doesn't care what you are. He doesn't care how you act or what you do. He loves you for who you are. And he loves even more that you will just die and rot someday. And that's Nergal's whole deal. Nergal, for the uninitiated, is one of the 4 chaos gods. He is the god of pestilence and plague and, you know, grimy, icky, decay, nasty stuff. Which are who these guys worship and follow. These are the warriors of Nergal, these plague marines. So, as they've been blessed by Nergal, they have these kind of horrifying looking body mutations and these tentacle growths and shit. All because Papa Nergal loves them. Can't you just see the love radiating off this model? And also here, this will help with the spelling. Nergal's rot. When we say Papa bless, we're talking about Papa Nergal. The other chaos gods, since we're on this topic now, I guess, as Flake and Jester alluded to, Khorne is the chaos god of war. He's the one who people chant blood for the blood god for, because he is the blood god. And his deal is real straightforward. If you've heard of a god of war from other religions or mythologies, same deal. He just likes fighting, one-on-one, mano-a-mano. No schemes, no tricks, just fighting. Let's see, the other 2 chaos gods, there's Tzeentch, which that one, actually do not ask me to spell that one, I do not know how to spell Tzeentch. But he's, in terms Parker would understand, he's this world's Savathun. God of lies and trickery and sabotage. You know, all the fun stuff. And a lot of his army, from the little I know about it, is a lot of like aquatic and sea life based imagery and models for some reason. They look real cool on the table, but I've never been too into them lore wise. And then the final one is Slaanesh, and they are the chaos god of excess, basically like hedonism to the max. Thanks, Jester. Okay, yeah, Tzeentch. Yeah, Slaanesh is a lot of people like what's the word I'm looking for? Describe like a lot of sexuality and that kind of stuff to Slaanesh, which is partially accurate, but it's less being like, you know, a corrupted god of, or goddess of love, and more being, yeah, kind of like Dionysus, but way over the top Dionysus. If you feel an emotion under Slanesh, you will feel it 100-fold, and it will be your downfall. Oh, Jake, what up? Glad to have you. But yeah, of all the Chaos Gods, Nergal's probably my favorite, just because, you know, for being the god of a bunch of super gross, disgusting decay stuff, he's actually fairly chill. When people say Papa Nergal loves you, it's not being, like, 100% accurate, but he's never, like, outright malicious to people. He just loves that they will rot and become his one day. No, I'm glad I can help. Hope I can help soothe your evening. I have to make this a regular segment if that's the case. Plus, that encouraged me to actually finish my armies. So yeah, that's the Chaos Gods. The majority of the universe in 40k are fighting against the Chaos Gods. They're not allied with each other, of course, because you can't have a war game series if all of your factions are allies. But for the most part, everyone can agree that chaos is bad. So who else do we have? We have, of course, the Space Marines. Everyone's seen them, the big blue power armor, you know, dudes. They fight for the Imperium of Man. If you can't tell by the name Imperium, all of humanity is basically just horrible fascists. Which is very funny because they are also the poster child of Games Workshop. So on the one hand, Games Workshop's like, yeah, come play the Blue Boys. They're definitely the good guys. Because they sell the shit ton and bring people into the hobby. But then you look at the lore just a little bit and you're like, oh, actually, humanity's terrible. This is actually the worst. Humanity is kind of ruled by the God Emperor of Mankind, except for he is currently just a corpse on a throne. But he's also their magical space GPS, so if the Emperor dies or gets removed from his throne, humans just don't have space travel anymore, essentially. So they're real keen on keeping him, quote-unquote, alive. Also, he might still actually be conscious or something, but we don't know for sure. He hasn't moved in about 10,000 years. He also eats 1,000 souls every day. So you can just jot that down. So yeah, that's them. The Space Marines themselves have like 100 factions each, which I won't get into because I don't even know all of them because I don't really care that much. You got the Imperial Guard, which are straight up just... Those are actual humans. Space Marines are at least like superhumans, genetically mutated, the works. Imperial Guard are straight up just humans with like a gun and a shovel, and they're told to go fight aliens and Chaos Gods. And their strategy is overwhelm them with numbers, because their firepower sure as hell won't. The amount of it, maybe. Again, that's some of the like dark humor that kind of works in this world. But like, all right, we have 5 different kinds of terrible aliens. We have robot Terminators from the future, and we got these dudes over here who are actual literal demons. And you just want a normal like World War II era dude to fight them with what is the equivalent of like a Winchester rifle. Good luck. Well, just when I say eats, they bring him prisoners, and then their souls get consumed somehow. We're pretty sure it's the Emperor, but no, he doesn't actually move or anything. The prisoners just go into the feeding tank, I think, and then the Emperor remains comatose or something. I don't know. There's a lot of weird quirks about the storytelling in 40k. Some things are explicitly expanded upon and like documented and have, books written about them and a bunch of like factual canon stuff to go off of. Some of the stuff is just, yeah, we think this is what's up. The Emperor eating 1,000 souls a day, that definitely happens. We just don't know the process. Let's see, who else are there? Oh yeah, we got them right here. Orcs, they are big, they are dumb, and they just like to fight. Much like we all need to eat, breathe, and drink, orcs physically need to fight. If they do not fight, they will die. They are probably the most numerous race in the 40k universe. If they all worked together, they could easily defeat every other faction. But they like fighting so much that they usually fight each other first. And they're so fun. Their whole dialect and language is based on like British soccer hooligans. So they just speak with these super over the top like Cockney British accents. I was not kidding when I said they are the comic relief of this universe. The other special thing about orcs is that they are ever so slightly psychic. There's psychic powers in this universe that play big roles. But the way it works with orcs is that a large enough group of them believes something, it basically warps reality to make it happen. So orcs, for example, all believe that if you paint something red or if you wear red, you'll go faster. Because red things just go faster. That's what they believe. And it works, like in universe. All the red cars are slightly faster for some reason. It's just how it goes. And I don't think there's rules for it now, but I think in earlier editions of the game, if you painted your guys red, they would get a bonus to movement or something. Literally, yes, they're just super superstitious sports bastards. Alright, so this guy's been drying. You can see with only the first coat, some of the gray undercoat still shining through. So we're going to touch him up a bit, let this guy dry, and then same thing, we'll touch that guy up, and then we'll move on to our next color. Let's see. Oh, there's the Eldar. They're basically space elves. They were the first army I bought into, and the last army I have to finish. I'll expand. We don't need to go into that. I tried painting them a bunch of different schemes, and I never liked any of them. And I finally settled on a scheme, and then I just lost the will to paint them again. So I'll get back to them eventually. But yeah, they're space elves. At one point, they were like the most technologically advanced race. They basically ruled the galaxy. But they were so top of the food chain and so like hedonistic that all of their partying and debauchery, let's say, became so much that it actually birthed the Chaos God Slanesh. This is another important lore point I should touch on now, is that there's, the universe, and then there's another dimension in 40k called the Warp. The Warp is essentially this dimension where the Chaos Gods are, where all the demons come from, and it's a place that's run by pure emotion. So every emotion felt in our actual physical world has some sort of representation in the warp. That's kind of how like the Orcs' psychic powers work, is that they just as a collective believe so much that, red makes things go faster, that it creates this entity in the warp, and then that somehow is breached into our world. In the case of the Eldar, they literally partied so hard that Slaanesh got born, and Slaanesh was like, these elf souls, they're all mine now. When they were born, completely obliterated the Eldar homeworld, took out a good portion of their population. Bad day overall to be an elf. And now, anytime a Eldar dies, their soul goes straight to Slaanesh to be tormented for all eternity. So in current day 40k, the Eldar are trying to A, find ways to live forever, which they kind of have down, and B, find out a way to kill Slaanesh so they don't have to worry about death anymore. There did used to be a race of space dwarves called squats. This was way back in like 2nd edition or 1st edition. We're on 9th edition for now, currently. Like they had like models, they were aligned with the humans, and they were interesting, but they really didn't get out of 1st or 2nd edition. And Games Workshop just said, oh no, the squat homeworld was invaded by aliens and they all died. Oops. And we haven't seen them since. Though if rumors are to be believed, they're coming back for this edition, but I would not hold my breath for that one. That seems just a little bit far-fetched. I hope they do. Because the fantasy version of Warhammer Age of Sigmar, I have dwarves for that version, because I fucking like dwarves. So if they made dwarves in 40k, I'd get a kill team at least. But yeah, unfortunately, there are currently no more squats. Let's see. Moving on from the Eldar, we have the Dark Eldar, or Drukhari. That's these guys I have over here. As you might be able to tell from this, very spiky, very whippy, very chainy. They kind of avoid Slaanesh, not by magic reasons, but by outdoing Slaanesh, so much that Slaanesh just doesn't claim these guys' souls when they die. It's not super well expanded upon, but yeah, Drukhari are very, very bad people. Basically just intergalactic slavers. They are... Everyone in the 40k universe is bad. The Drukhari are bad. Like, if you were to rank, like, faction based on crimes per capita, Drukhari would probably be the first. Drukhari. Unfortunately, while all this lore is made up and the battles don't matter, I am saying Drukhari and not Drukhari. Ooh, that would be a fun project, though. Make a Drukhari. I think I can make it happen. The price is fight. How about that? Oh, so I think this guy is about as green as we're going to get him. Even if we're not, I got some tricks coming up later that'll make it so we don't even notice any missed spots. Let him dry up real quick again. See how this guy's doing. some parts need touching up, but again, we'll do that real quick. And then we'll move on to all of the metallics. The way I like to start painting projects is, well, obviously, probably, start or deciding on a scheme. And the way I usually do that is I pick one main color and like two secondary colors, one or two secondary colors. For my Eldar, I decided to go with orange and gray for this really cool kind of industrial look. For my Necrons, I went with like the silver and blue, and I'll show one of them off in a little bit. And then for these guys, I'm going with obviously the Death Guard green and this kind of old, antiquated looking metal. Which again isn't a super original palette. This is just, if you buy one of these boxes, this is what these guys look like painted on the box. But sometimes keeping it simple is the easiest and most satisfying. Like, of all the guys I've painted so far, my Death Guard are probably the ones I'm proudest of. Even if they're not technically the best painted models, because I'm doing all of them very quickly. I don't know, they just look real good on the tabletop. They're the ones I've played the most in the new version of Kill Team. And that really makes it like playing this game with a fully painted team of guys that you made. It makes the wins feel super good, but it also makes the losses feel just terribly heartbreaking, because it's not just guys on a table that are dying, it's your guys on a table that are dying. Now, onto the Pauldron. It's going to be a bit of a pain there. Ooh, I missed a whole section of arm, too. Ah, I missed the inside of this arm. And this is another reason to do two coats. Because a lot of the times during your first coat, you'll just straight up miss something that you won't see until you manipulate the model all over. Which you might not do until like one of your last steps, and that's like, oh god, I missed putting green in this very precarious crevice. If I try and paint that now, I'm going to have to paint the entire surrounding area again. Which isn't always a problem, because with these guys, I undercoated them black and then spray painted the gray from the top. So if if I missed, like, for example, if I missed under the arm there and it was just black, that wouldn't be too big a deal, because then it just looks like there's a shadow fall in there, and besides, no one's gonna be looking at my model like this besides me. But sometimes, like in this case, I missed that whole armor greave right there. That would have been bad if I had to go back and paint that. That would be a bit harder to miss. Yeah. I think he's as green as I'm gonna make him. So yeah, let them dry for a couple more seconds while I prep the next paint. Because the next paint, we gotta start mixing. Because yeah, this antiquated metal that I have on everyone else is something of my own concoction. I'm going to start with the base of this Balthazar Gold, which really just makes this really nice, deep bronze color. I've actually used this color on basically every army I've painted just because it looks so nice. It's one of my favorite looking paints that Games Workshop does. Problem is that it's kind of... The metallic paints are weird because they have obviously the metallic filaments in them. So they store weirdly. They can either become super liquidy or super solid. I have a washer in this so that when I shake it up, it gets mixed real good. You can probably hear that. But yeah, the metallics are a pain. Well, at least Games Workshops are. Also because they make their paints in these pots. Which at first I didn't hate, but after using a couple different brands that use the eyedroppers, oh, these are so much better. I really wish Games Workshop would transfer their whole range to eyedroppers. But yeah, start with the base of the Balthazar Gold, and then just mix in some gunmetal, which you don't have to use this brand. Games Workshop has their lead belcher, which also works just as well. But this one's in an eyedropper, so it's easier to mix and get ratios right. So I'm using this one. Oh man, I hope this is the right paint. I actually don't remember if this is how I made that antiquated metal, or if I did the Balthazar in black. I guess we'll find out. Okay, no, this is definitely it. Might have been too much lead belcher. I'll put in one more dab of the Balthazar to try and darken it up a bit more. Oh, another pro tip if you ever start painting. Two water cups. Yeah, water cups. Forgot the word for cup for a second. Holy shit. 2 water cups are a good idea. Especially if you use a lot of metallics. Because if I were to wash this brush off in the normal brush, the metallics would start accumulating in the water. And over a long paint session, they can start messing with your other paints. So I like to keep one for metallics, one for not metallics. I should say for metallics and other technical paints, like the Crackle Paint I used on all these guys. It's this one right here, the Agrex Earthshade, but it is this super thick pasty paint. Because the substance that makes it crackle is basically Elmer's glue. So again, if you mix that into your normal water bowl, it can mess with some of your normal paints if you go back to painting with normal paints. Oh yo, Austin, what up? Thanks for the fucking sub. Oh my god, 4 months. Thank you. And yeah, this is the Warhammer paint stream. Working on finishing these guys right here. The 2 guys I'm working on in the background right there are drying off a bit while I get my next paint ready. That's fucked up about Warhammer. This 40k, the bigger Warhammer franchise, the one that was around first, as far as I can tell, doesn't have a Warhammer in it. But Age of Sigmar very clearly has a Warhammer. And that's why Sigmar's the better series. Ooh, I've had a request for a Christmas mini. When I finish on my Death Guard, you know what? I'll give us a Christmas orc. How's that sound? Is that a deal? Just for you, just for giving us that 4-month sub, I'll give you a Christmas orc. It's funny, Games Workshop actually does do a Christmas figurine every year. And their one this year was called the Red Gobbo. And it's literally just a it might have been for Sigmar, but it's it's a goblin in a Santa hat with a huge bag. Yeah, if you want to see the model, like I said, it's the Red Gobbo. I'm sad I didn't get last year's Christmas model because it was is just this very festive dwarf dude, but he was for the Sigmar army, and at the time I didn't play Sigmar, so I was like, I'm not gonna get it. I really wish I would have gotten him because he's super cool. He's just a dwarf. He has a huge tanker full of like ale on his back and a huge flagon. I probably still find one, but they're probably not being sold at MSRP. Oh yeah, but we got our antiquated metal all mixed up. So let's move on back to the cleaver dude and start getting him metaled up. Oh. Alright. So, for the metal bits, there's obviously some stuff that sticks out. We're obviously going to do, you know, the big old cleaver blade in this metal. And some of the smaller details, like we'll probably do the spike on his head. We'll do some details back here on the backpack in the metal. And we'll do these like bell vents on the side of his backpack. It's actually probably about all we're gonna do metal wise. Oh, let's say Austin, post those cosplay prop pics somewhere. I love work in progress posts. Oh, Ace, thank you for fetching the red gobbo, excuse me. Duh. It's again, orc speak. You gotta speak like a hooligan. I had a feeling you'd like him. Yeah, and this model might look a bit flat right now, but trust me, in just a little bit here, there is one step that is going to turn this whole guy around, make him look, turn from like a middle school art project to an almost hobbyist level worth of detail. Yeah, it's fine. Glad the chat is loving the big gobbo. Also, I see that you just tagged me in something. I will check that out after the stream, because I am currently streaming just straight up from my phone. But thank you. I don't know if you said it earlier. If you did, I didn't see, and I apologize. But what were you painting purple? What cosplay? Spilled deets. Oh man, is this about to become a Dragon Ball cast? If that's the case, I'll let Parker take over. I am excited for Dragon Ball Superhero, though. Oh, Austin, that's incredible. I cannot wait to see it when it's done. Hope that hasn't been out of frame for too long. Let's see. Oh, let's get the head spike. And again, I'm not being too concerned about being super neat. It's only the second color, so there'll be time to fix mistakes later. And once you start doing some of these special techniques, some of these mistakes will blend in anyways. You can kind of tell on the front there I went a bit too far into the green, but you can't really tell from the top, so I'm probably just going to leave it. No use sweating over it. Another thing I generally do is I kind of paint on the fly. So like, I know what my 2 or 3 primary colors are going to be. Start with the base, start with the secondary, then after that I kind of just decide, what's going to be what. Like for example, this like tubing here, I'm going to go back and paint that black. I didn't think about it beforehand. Just as I was painting around it, I noticed it and make a mental note. Oh, that would look good if it looked like black rubber tubing. So that's what I'm going to go back and do. Alright, first bell done. And we'll leave that little spike on the bell unpainted because we'll go back and do that in the bone color. Also, not something I always do. Sometimes I'll go back to a previously finished model and just see what I did paint-wise. So it looks like I did that first notch on the backpack in the metal. So I will do that for this one also. Try and keep it real thin with the tip. Again, not too concerned if this spills over. If it does, I think the wash will hide it nicely. If it doesn't, we'll just clean it up right before we finish. Alright, so the bells, a bit of the backpack, the cleaver. I thought we could try and do these spikes. Oh yeah, the pauldron trim. That's the other one that ties this army together. Oh man. Is that GT hate in the chat? Parker, you got something to say about that? I haven't seen GT either personally, but I've seen a lot of like adjacent media, especially like the card game. It looks like it has a lot of interesting ideas. Plus, they gave Vegeta a mustache, so it can't be that bad a series. But yeah, we'll do the trim on the Pauldrons next. Man, I just glanced down. That was not the verbiage I was expecting Parker to use, but it's true. It's not a lie. Alright, ooh. Do not forget the underside of your pauldrons. Classic rookie mistake. Which I almost did, but we saved it. And I think I'll make this hard on myself. I'll try and get this studded leg. Let's get some metal on there. This is my melee fighter all. He should have a bit more metal on him, I think. Really stand out. And if I really wanted to go all out, I could do the trim on the leg pieces too. But I didn't do that for the other guys, and I think they turned out just fine, so I'm not going to go through that headache. And I don't think we've ever been this soothing in the past, so yeah, this is probably our first official ASMR stream. I'm so mad I could have chose that as one of the tags. Why didn't I? No! Yeah, as you get to the like smaller details, I'll be holding my breath a bit and really focusing. Whew. Alright. I think that's a nice little bit of detail. I will do this knee spike too. I've done the rest of them. What's one more? Yeah. And again, not super neat, especially on this side. You can see a lot of where I dip down into the crevices. There actually is. I'm going to clean up that trim part I nicked real quick. But the rest I'm just going to leave for now. Yeah. That little bit cleaned up. So yeah, did it for the metal bits on this guy. Let those dry a bit. Do the metal on this guy now. Oh, hello. We've got another special guest tonight. Everyone welcome to the stage, Killer Mike. Oh, you gotta sit on me. Okay. That's not gonna get in the way. No, sir. Hey, bud. Oh, man. You are definitely going to try and nuzzle into this phone, and you're definitely going to knock it over. Yes, hello, Mike. You hear that, Mike? Your eyes are so green. And the audience loves you. Oh, no, please do not eat my paint. Don't worry, he is sitting on my shoulders now. Here. He is my very good painting helper now. Is this agreeable to everyone? Oh yeah, Mike, you're a star. Alright. Let's get back to the painting. You continue to be a hit. Wait, I'm waiting. Oh, did we get new emote slots? We might have. Listen, if we have the slots for it, I will 100% get y'all a mic emote. No questions asked. Oh, man. I'll start the backpack on this one. Ooh, we get an animated emote too. That's a lot of power. Parker, if you can, I'm gonna leave that ball in your court, Parker. You do what you want with that. I will not stop you. I will actively cheer you on, as a matter of fact. That is not in shot. Oops. Listen, we either do whatever. Nothing bad ever happens to the Kennedys. Here, Parker, let me float this one past you. It's just a transparent PNG, Nancy Reagan, and we just have it pan down, and that's it. Holy shit, the permanent Tylenol. That's the first time I've seen you use that, and I hope it's not the last. That is incredible. the less money we make, the better time I'm having. I work a job to get money. I don't need this to be a job too. Permanent Tylenol really is just a really good phrase. Thank you for enlightening me to that, Parker. Also, I think I'm going to do some I think I'm going to do some more on the fly decision making here. Because while the easy way out would just to do all these chains and stuff in the same antiquated metallic, I'm probably going to do all the chains in like normal silver and use the antiquated metallic to highlight the important parts like this, the backpack shit up here, and the actual maces on the flail. I think that's the play. Oh. All right. Oh, and again, we'll do this first. A little notch on the backpack. We'll do this handle looking thing. I am in fear of what's about to happen in the comments here. Whew, lad. Someone must stop Parker. This point's going beyond unmarketable. Or becoming publicly wanted. You're right. He simply can't be stopped. You'd think for our fascination with political figures and their various head traumas, you would think we would have gotten to Lincoln by now, but you'd managed to skate by mostly unscathed. By us, at least. I mean, it's the first word that came to mind, Austin. It's probably not accurate. It's traumatizing to me, maybe. Alright, so let's get these pauldrons done. I'll let this guy dry a bit, and I'll mix up some more colors. Ooh, that's a bit too much. At least for that small area. And I got a bit sloppy at the end there, but that's because I have to go up and fix this mistake from earlier, so Gonna be back in the area with green paint, so no big deal. Just load that up onto the brush. And that takes care of that. Alright. So, let those metallics dry on those two for a couple minutes. Get our next colors all queued up. So, the next colors we're going to use are again going to be quite a couple mixtures. Ooh, I need red. So yeah, I'm going to do a different dirty metal for the chains on both those guys. We got to get the bone color ready for their bones and protrusions, all that stuff. And then the color ready for all the tentacled, fleshy, slimy alien bits. I believe these guys have... Yeah, they got like loincloths. So we need color for that. So I'm pulling out this red. We're going to dirty this up a whole bunch, and that'll be their loincloth color. Which means plus I'll make a little puddle down here for later when we do the Christmas orc. We'll leave that one not dirty. That, or I was going to pull out some just basic black for some of the smaller details, like that tubing from earlier. Don't need a whole lot of it. Let that sit. Now, but the other reason I'm pulling out the black, and so we can get kind of a dirty metal going for those chains. So yeah. Ooh, it might be a bit much. Let's see. I got that real close to the red too. Not quite enough black, I don't think. Oh, I mixed that in my non-metallic paint cup. Damn it. All this time trying to keep those materials separate, and I messed up. That's a bit better. Now let's go wild. Let's get a drop of this antiquated metal in there. Just see where that takes us. Ooh. I think that was a good idea. I don't know how well that's showing up on camera right now. But it's a bit dirtier than just the silver. But just that tint of the that antiquated metal warms it up just a bit to make it match with the rest. We are, believe it or not, nearing the final stretch. That's why I'm getting all these paints ready. Because the detail part, besides having to try and stain the lines and all that, goes by pretty quick because everything you're painting is fairly small. Oh yeah, in order to dirty up our red for their loincloth, we're just using just brown. Start with that. I'm really just trying to dull the red here. Maybe a dash more of brown though, that's still a bit too vibrant. Yeah. Hello, Mike. Saying hi again? There we go. Ooh. Nope. Still too vibrant for me. One more dollop will do it. Maybe two. The other ones are pretty dark. Nope, he doesn't got a loincloth, sorry. What do we think? Yeah, it's a smidge darker. Try and match that. That's the worst part about mixing paints for schemes, is if you don't like write down or remember the ratios, you just gotta guess every time you use it in the future. It should be good. There we go. Alright. We'll get two more colors on the palette, and then we will fly through this. So next we're getting our Wraithbone for all the bone, and Screamer Pink for all the tentacle bits. So I want the brush nice and clean for when I pull this out of the pot, because with, you know, whites and any other lighter colors, yellows, some greens, they can be very susceptible to any pigment left on your brush, so you really want to make sure you have a clean brush when you're taking it out of the pot. Again, this wouldn't be a problem if Games Workshop used eyedroppers, because then you don't have to use a physical object to pull your paints out, but unfortunately for us, they use these stupid pots. And I don't really need a lot of this. No, this paint has started to separate and just get kind of weird and chunky, so. And again, I don't know how much I'll be able to water this down since my water pot is super, well, red, but try and put just a drop in there. Water it down a bit. And then our last color for the evening, Screamer Pink. Oh, this is gonna look good. Again, don't need a super lot of it. It's not a whole lot of tentacle bits on these next two dudes, but just enough. Water it down just a smidge. And I think that's it. Oh, there's one more color. Almost forgot. And I believe it is... I want to do the handles of these weapons in something. I don't really want them metallic, but I do want them to blend a little bit with the metallics. So I'm going to do just a drop of the Balthazar Gold. Which, that being said, that was probably a bit too much. Throw in quite a few drops of the brown here. Try and really dull that metallic presence. But that's not all. I'm going to lastly use one heaping brush full of black to tie it all together. Yeah, they really incorporated together. Beautiful. And that's the one we'll actually start with. And I think it's at this point I'm going to downgrade from my big brush to a slightly smaller brush. Ooh, the bristles on this one are going. Maybe go just one smaller. Oh, yeah. Yeah, it should be fine. If not, I'll go up one. Nope. No, this one's going to be too small for the handle. That'll take a bit. Yeah, this will be good for now. Yeah, I'd say this guy's coming together. Yeah, just loading up on that dark brown we just made. And just coating the handle. This is the part where I kind of finally start being extra careful. Because the less paint I can get on the armor, the less I have to do it over in these tight quarters. The ideal number of things we want to repaint is 0. And now here's the real test. Ooh, battery's on 15%. I started this around 70. So apparently live streaming and having your camera on for quite a while drains it pretty righteously. I'll go grab a plug in a second here. Should be able to finish this part. And yeah, I'm just trying to get everything that's still gray on this weapon. Now, except for that tubing, we'll do that in black. Probably gonna have to break out the metal color again anyways, but that's okay. Oh boy, here we go. I missed that hand with green quite a bit. Missed both these hands with green quite a bit, so I actually do that first. Bring the green back. Yeah, that's better. Kilo, what's up? Man, that was a back-to-back punch of comments. Kilo, as you can see, we're doing some painting. Austin over here writing essays. Okay, green's all touched up. Go back to the metallic. Oh yeah, welcome to the me tricking you all into watching Warhammer content stream. But the art category is actually accurate, unlike some of our past categories or live notifications. It could have been ASMR. Probably should have been ASMR. But I didn't think about it until it was too late. Yo, KV, what's up? Glad to have you as well. You know what? Before I forget, let me go get that charger because I do not want the stream dying until then. For those of you who are just joining us, we started from basically here. To pretend this isn't an orc, can pretend this is a Duna suit of armor. We started here. We are currently here. And we're going to end up there before the stream's done. So leave you with that. Let me go find a phone charger. And I'll be right back. There we go. Okay, cool. First charger I grabbed didn't work. This one... Oh yeah, we're holding steady at 12%. Let's go. Oh, we've started a revolution while I was gone. Hell yeah. Good job, team. Yeah, fuck Jeff Bezos, fuck Amazon, fuck them all. Alright. Leave him out there. Downside, I do have to kind of maneuver around a coordinate, but that's fine. Real question is, will this charge my phone while I'm using the camera? Or will it just make it drain more slowly? In case it's the latter, I'm going to, as the sky enthusiasts do, pick it up. Alright, let's get this tubing on this, and then this weapon will be done. We can move on to the other guy. Sealed. You mean like a final clear coat on top of the miniatures? Is that what you mean, Kilo? You can. I have an army that's entirely sealed. These guys I'm painting right now, I just have the 7 of them. So I haven't really taken the time to go back and seal them. It's not hard. It doesn't really do much. Actually, here, I'm going to show this off real quick. Because here's one of the Necrons I was talking about earlier. And the biggest thing with sealing is sometimes they mess up the texture paints, which isn't the case for these guys, thankfully. But for like the blood effect, or the glossy sword effect I have, if you use a non-glossy varnish, that'll fuck with that. So I had to coat this dude mainly in the matte varnish, but then I did the sword and the gloss varnish, and then the blood is actually a technical paint that I put on top of that. Because if you put any sort of varnish on top of the blood, it just kind of messes it up. Yeah. That said, the Death Guard guys, I've had them unvarnished for like a month or so now. I've taken them to a couple different games and I haven't noticed any like scratches or imperfections or anything, but I'll probably get around to varnishing them once I have all 7 complete. Also, bed is good. Thank you. I have not used Krylon, actually. I'll definitely check into it, or look into it. But yeah, welcome. I'm glad to have you. Is Krylon a spray varnish? Because I've tried like just a spray varnish from the hardware store before, hoping it would be, quick and easy, but unfortunately it messed with the final paint job too much. But if there's definitely a quicker and easier way to varnish stuff, I would love to know. Alright, his weapon's done. Move on to him. Where we have to do the chains. Ooh. Okay, I'll get back to that. Yeah, first we have to do the chains and handle still. Noted. I will check that out. Thank you for the recommendation. So yeah. Doing the handle first again. I mean, the underside of any like cylindrical objects is the worst thing to paint in this hobby. Oh, here, let me show off this guy real quick. This Necron, all of his tubing and shit was just a pain to do. And this is definitely one of my sloppier Necrons. Happy how he turned out, especially on the tabletop. He looks real good from far away. But if you get up too close, you can see just how rough some of those tubes are. Oh, this guy is one of my favorite models, but damn if he is not a pain to paint. On KV, the guys I'm painting right now are, they're called Death Guard. They're basically just, they're Death Guard, and then these model types are Plague Marines. They are servants of like the pestilence plague god. So, they're dirty and swampy and grimy and mutated. The guys back here are robot skeleton terminators. Oh yeah, shit, I didn't talk about Necrons in my previous lore segment. So yeah, Necrons are basically the oldest race in the galaxy currently. They gave up their flesh bodies for immortal life and immediately regretted it and have been trying to become mortal ever since. And they've also been trying to destroy every other race in the galaxy, but that part's not important. Oh, and thanks for the compliment. Sick is probably the highest compliment you could give to these guys. Robot skeletons really are just a fantastic trope. More people need to get on that train. Oh boy. And for those of you who've been around for most of the stream, I alluded to this part earlier, but when I built this guy, this weapon isn't really supposed to go with this chest piece because they're super close together. This guy was supposed to be in a slightly slimmer chest piece, but I just had to make him different and unique, so now I'm paying the price trying to paint in these crevasses. Remember, kids, don't try and stand out. It's a lot of work. Oh, I'm gonna have to paint these dudes' tentacles in a bit too. That's gonna suck. But for now, that's looking good, I think. Oh, welcome back. And thank you again for the compliment. Alright. That's not bad. Okay. Oh man, those tentacles are gonna be a pain, but we're not there yet. I think that's all for the handle part. I'm gonna go back to my smaller brush. Oh, and thank you. I mixed up. That's not a. The bronze color isn't from the pot. It's something another mixture I made, which. Again, mixtures are kind of a pain if you don't know the ratios, but I really like how this one turned out. Actually, thank you for reminding me. I forgot the underside of this guy's pauldron. So let's get that real quick. Good catch. Pauldrons are cool. They're a cool word. There's nothing uncool about pauldrons. Parker, welcome back. Feel free to get to sleep if you want to. Let's do the chains. The chains are going to be the last headache part, and then it's basically smooth sailing after this. I guess this part won't be too bad. Everything's already been primed gray, so I don't need super thorough coverage. Just another good reason to prime models in either gray or black or both. Because if you miss anything, like the insides of this chain cluster, It won't really stand out at all. Especially once you get the washes and everything on it. Man, if I do another painting stream again, I think I'm going to have to find me some royalty-free music I can bump. I hate these silent moments where I'm holding my breath, painting super small details. Oh man, is there fucking pickle discourse going on? If I can throw my hat in the ring real quick, all I gotta say is pickles are sometimes good and they're sometimes not good. That's the hottest take of the evening, I think. No man, they're asking for a pickle poll. Also, good news, bad news. My phone percentage hasn't gone up at all, but also hasn't dipped lower than 12. So it's remained steady for the past, however long it's been. So the stream probably won't abruptly die. I think that's as good as I'm getting the chains now. I have one more on the back here. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. So now the main things we have left to do are their loincloths real quick, which I'm going to do that now because that'll be easy, breezy, beautiful. The bone protrusion bits, and then the tentacle bits, which I'll save that part for last. Then once we do that, we're basically done. It might not look by much. It might not look like much. Like I said, I have a secret little tip to make these things really pop. Dripped a bit of red paint onto the texture paint. Again, this is why I usually save the texture paint for last. Because if you get paint on paint, that's the one thing you can just go over it. But if you get paint on texture paint, that's a bit harder to clean up because it's so thick and different. Like, you can only put so many coats of the texture paint on that before it gets real chunky and noticeable. Yeah, I'll go over some of these green areas again too. Let that start drying up for a bit first. Move on to this dude. It's got a little tassel here, so I'll actually paint that red too. Just to tie it all together a little bit. Yeah, once you start, putting paint on the figure, you have your main colors out of the way, start doing the details. You really don't have to plan this much in depth. I certainly didn't. As I was painting the handle a couple minutes ago, I saw that red piece of cloth. I'm like, you know what? That would look good if I matched it to the loincloth. So that's what I'm doing. And it should hopefully pay off. Oh, I just messed up that arm. That's what I get for trying to be thorough. Well, that's okay. I have to clean up some of the green on the other guy. Probably have to clean up some of the green on this guy, so no big deal. Man, that demon tongue is an annoying little protrusion. But I think I got around it as best I could. All right. I'm going back through all your chat now. Chunky and noticeable is the the Tinder tags I have on. Jesus Christ, KV. Oh, I cannot believe Nancy Reagan is going to be so deeply embedded in our channel's lore. We have no one to blame but ourselves. But still. Alright. Switching back to the smaller brush. Clean up some of those green spots. Do the same thing on the other guy. And then it's just bone and tentacles. Okay, front side's looking good. Just some of the legs on the back here. Oh no. Should let that dry for a bit more. Still so wet, I've kind of just spread it around. It's not gonna stop me from trying one more attempt to cover it up. No, I'm satisfied with that. Once we do our final special trick, you won't be able to tell anyways. Then on this guy we have a bit up here from the brown earlier. Slightest touch there. Oh, that's right. The arm was the big one we messed up here. Fixed. There's actually a bit of gray still showing there, so we'll hit that. Oh, a bit of red on the underside there of that wrap that we missed. Let me hit that again too real quick. Wait, are the poll results in? What's going on? I can't see anything right now. Just my own video and the chat. Also, KV, if you want to hang out for a bit, I might be playing that new Solar Ash game, so feel free to party up with me. Oh! That was almost bad. Also, gang, vote now on your phones. Bone or tentacles next. Make your choice. Alright, Kilo says bone, so bone it is. I'm gonna use the big brush. Oh no, there wasn't a poll for that one. That was just me asking for input. God, we are almost done. I'm so excited to show off the last step. This is what it's all been leading to. Alright, so we got that. Oh, can get the teeth or fangs or whatever these growths are. Can make these guys bone. And bone, because it's so light, there's another one we're going to do just 2 quick coats of. Because the area we're covering is so small, they'll dry pretty quick. Ooh. Do I hate myself? Do I get all these tiny little skulls? I think the answer is yes. And we'll clean up that with some green once it dries. I'm not sure what's down by his foot here. Ah, I touched the bone. Yeah, not entirely sure what's by his foot here, but I'm going to call it the bone. I'm going to call it bone. Looks like part of a skull or something. Alright. Let that first coat of bone dry. This guy's a lot more prominent bone on him. So let's get this. Oh, he's got so many skulls on him. I'm getting that one. Noticed a patch that could use some greens. I'm going to fill that in real quick. Then back to, oh no. Found a bald spot that's missing the metallic. So I was going to hit that real quick. Of course, the chat's talking about boners now. Not that I would expect or want differently. Oh, this dude's got another bone pauldron. Damn. See, the last couple of guys in the set I did, the majority of the bones was just these spikes coming out like their heads and shit. And this dude's just gotta be a real boner, don't he? That's right, he's got one on his flail down here. Hindsight, probably shouldn't have watered this paint down because it was already so separated and thin. But we're here now. Once you thin a paint, you can't really thicken it back up, so you just gotta deal with it. Oh, his side bones too. And I gotta go back for the Pauldron bones. One bony son of a gun. Just call him the Bony King of Nowhere. Ooh, Bony M. That's a good pull. And KV, are you asking why do skeletons wear armor as a joke? Is it like a setup for a punchline? Or are you asking legitimately? So if you're asking legitimately, they gotta protect their boners. And also probably just because it looks cool. But also definitely that boner bit. Also, these guys are closer to zombies than skeletons. Though I do actually... Ooh, hold up. I got some skeletons nearby. I'm gonna go grab one. I'm back and I've brought skeletons. Ooh. Yeah, I did these guys a while back. Here's an actual zombie. Nor the cat hair on him. Yeah. Then I have these two. If it focuses, please. There we go. Yeah, these guys are fun to paint because I did I used just contrast paints, which contrast paints are basically just straight liquid. So I did those whole things in contrast paint, which was surprising because it was very quick, but also kind of easy, and it turned out pretty good in my opinion. Alright, let's do this dude's bone pauldron. I think curved swords are just cooler in general, KV. Like, scimitars are my shit. Like, if I'm playing D&D and I gotta use a sword, it's a scimitar. RuneScape, scimitar. Skyrim, you know it's a scimitar. Let that one dry. Second coat this dude's bones. It's because skeletons aren't straight. Okay, I'll let that dry before we go back for the cleanup. Second coat this dude's bones. Alright. Oh, how I long to be a skeleton. That's why Pirates and Sands are such beloved characters. It's deep down, everyone secretly wants to become a skeleton. Or maybe not so secretly. Yeah, I think we're all here for classic emoticon supremacy. No more emojis. We need to go back. Oh, yeah. I want the metallic. Alright, also I'm calling an audible, adding one more color to the pile. If I can find it. Got a nice flesh tone here, because I think the clearer dude has a, I think this thing here is like a shrunken head or severed head or something. So I'm not even going to water this down, just get some directly on the brush. Lather it all over. I'm probably going to have to go back with the green again. So I got a little too sloppy with that. Oh yeah, let me break out the green real quick. And then it's tentacles, and that's the final trick. Alright, tentacle time. Thank you, KV. And a good night, Parker. Thank you for sticking around as long as you did. Alright, Screamer Pink loaded. Basically, we're just hitting all of the parts that are left unpainted. Just like the tubing on that Necron model in the background, these tentacles are the worst. Which is partially why I saved them for last. that one. Got this one coming out of his boot here. Ooh, he's got a whole lot of tentacles back here. Yeah, of all the places I'd want a tentacle, I don't think the boot is where I would have my first pick be. Okay, I think I just have his face tentacle left. I guess this is a tentacle back here. Alright, face tentacle. Then back to the other guy. Damn, his whole head situation's kind of just fucked. Oh, I could do the rest of his pauldron spikes and bone too. Let's do that real quick. He's got some teeth on the front there too, so hit that now as well. Yeah, it's looking good. Ah, crap. These look a bit bony to me, so hit those real quick too. Ooh, I almost missed some tentacle up top. Can't have that. No, before I forget. I almost forgot a chunk of pauldron. And of course this demon tongue from earlier. Alright. And then this guy. Oof. That sucks, KV. Yeah, the autofocus is hit or miss tonight. I think it gets worse the more figures I put in the background. Alright, so this guy's got that lovely stomach tentacle helping him keep grip here. Nancy had that throat tentacle to help her keep grip. Absolutely eviscerated that handle. Another thing we'll go back and touch up. Man, I know I was complaining about cylindrical objects earlier, but fuck spirals. This is even worse. see, he's got that eye tentacle too. And a few on his back here. Oh man, the Stanley thing is terrible. Absolutely no one liked the Stan Lee thing. It's not like hacked either. It's like someone with official access to the account is using it. But yeah, it's bad and no one likes it. Alright. I think that'll do it. One of the most important parts of painting is deciding you're done and not touching up after that. Now, we're not done here, but I'm done with the traditional painting methods. So any more mistakes I see from here on out, too bad. I'm just gonna have to live with them. Wow, Ace, that sucks too. Both of those suck, Ace. And apparently, touch on that earlier point. Apparently, I think Instagram has some sort of thing where if you die, you can get your account put in a in memoriam state where it won't be altered after that. Which is weird when you think about it. But understandable. But yeah, while I let these guys dry out a little more, like I said, we're done with most of the traditional painting. The step I'm about to do is dry brush the ground. So as you can see on this finished model, there's kind of some variation between just the brown and then there's like a dusty white on top. I'm using that bone paint from earlier, putting it directly on the brush, and then wiping most of it off onto a dry sheet of paper so that we can dry brush. I want this thing to be, no pun intended, bone dry. And this would probably be the last step I did. But seeing as I did this whole thing kind of out of order, I'm just going to do it now. And just lightly apply it on top of all this crackled, earthy, swampy area. And the dry brushing, just by having the paint be this dry, catches all those raised areas. Makes it look like dust or something was blowing through. Yeah. Adds a bit of flavor. And same thing over here. You can do this on the actual models themselves for various different effects. Again, just really good to help catch any raised areas. Just gives everything a bit more depth. For example, I'll dry brush this Pauldron here just to show it off real quick. Actually looks kind of nice. Maybe a quick dry brush just kind of catches those raised skulls, makes them pop a bit more. You can do that with any any type of color for any different model for whichever kind of effect you're going for, whatever area you want to highlight. But I just like doing it to give my bases a bit of depth. Like when I did my Necrons, that was a black Crackle Paint for the base. Then I dry brushed over the top with this bluish gray type thing. Make it look like a real alien environment. So, as I've been alluding to, we're approaching the final step. And thank you for the compliments again. But if you compare, this completely finished one to this in progress one, well, there's still quite a bit of difference. So you're probably thinking, Graham, how the hell is there only one step left? And it's because we have to add our wash now. Which washes are just basically the most watered down paint you can do. Slather them all over the top of your models. They get into all the little crevasses and details, and just bam, instant, immediate depth. And thank you, KB. This is the first time I've ever had a hobby that I'm actually proud of the end results. But for this instance, we're going to use 2 washes. We're going to mix them together using Nuln Oil, which is black, and Agrax Earthshade, which is a brown, earthier tone. Gonna get those nice and mixed up. So I'll start. Usually when you're doing washes, you want a nice, thick, fluffy brush. Again, make sure it's wet beforehand. And I'm just going to absolutely dunk it in the Earthshade. Give my Nuln Oil a wash. And actually, or Nuln Oil a shake. Get some to pool in the top here. And just use this to mix it. I'm not super worried about like contaminating the Nuln Oil wash because it's a black wash. Adding brown to it won't do much, especially not, you know, these quantities. So once I got a nice little mixture, just gonna take my guy here and start slathering. Another reason I save the texture paints for the last step usually is texture paints don't tend to react well to washes, so I have to be very careful for these next steps. So I actually start at the legs and work my way up. Yeah, I really want these guys to look as grimy and dirty and plague-ridden as possible. So I'm being very heavy-handed while I apply these. And as I'm running out of my little mixture in that reservoir up top, I'm just going to start alternating black and brown. There's that. Not entirely sure how I'm going to dry these guys, because normally, you know, you just set them down to dry. If I set them down, they might, you know, the wash might start pooling in the texture paint on the bottom. I'll figure that out in a moment. And really, yeah, work the washes into all the details. You know, some models you won't use washes at all. Some models you'll wash a very small amount. Nope, not these guys. I want these guys to be moist and grimy and absolutely disgusting looking. It is a miracle I've not spilled either of these pots yet. Oh, KV, I know you're kind of joking, but some people do actually use a method called dip painting. Not just for washes, but for some forms of like full-on painting, which is exactly what it sounds like. Or instead of taking the time to base coat carefully, you just take whatever your base color is and just fucking dunk your model in it. Fun fact, I tried it with a few accessories before. Like rocks and leaves and stuff. It didn't turn out super well, so I don't recommend it, but I also don't think I was actually doing it right. But yeah, dip painting is actually a thing. I mean, with this step, like I mentioned, it, you know, adds depth to everything, makes everything pop and seem more detailed. And if you missed any spot earlier somehow, this will cover that up too. Like, I missed part of the chain here, I think. Now that I have everything dipped and washed, it won't even be noticeable. So yeah, let him start drying. Move on to this guy. Again, just gonna load up the brown. Get a little mix there to start and start slathering. this part of the process is honestly like so cathartic. I'm so happy it usually comes at the end. Just because you put all this work in, you know, all the hard parts are essentially over. There's no more being careful. It's just go hog wild. And you're rewarded with a really good look most of the time. That said, my kind of main army, my Eldar, don't take kindly to washing. Just the way their models are sculpted, they have a lot of flat, unraised surfaces. So in order to get depth on them, you have to actually, you know, paint it in freehand. And it is a pain because I am not good at that stuff. Which is also probably why I'm putting off painting them. But I'll get around to them eventually. This is the much preferred method of adding depth. Alright. I think this guy is soggy enough. Go ahead, set him down, let him start drying. But even with that, even as they're still wet, you can see how they have that depth starting to form, like this guy here. God damn, KV. And while that was indeed the last main step, there are a few more technical paints and detail paints I'm going to throw on here. Just gotta let them dry real quick. But I'll take you on a quick tour while that's happening. So, we obviously have the blood on this guy. I'm gonna throw some blood on the weapons down here, and this guy's mouth is like kind of fucked up, so I'll throw some blood in there, which is, here it is, blood for the blood god. I mentioned it before, that's also what's on my Necron dude here, but it's just kind of a glossy jelly paint. But if you were going to varnish your models, you'd put this on after the varnish, just so the varnish doesn't mask the shiny property. On this guy we also have some of this like oxidization on the back by the Pauldrons and on the backpack. Another technical paint, which is Nihilak Oxide. Nihilak's one of the Necron dynasties. I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly, but yeah. Just a super watery liquid paint. Takes a while to dry, but when it does, it kind of partially evaporates and pulls apart, so it looks like there used to be water pooled in wherever you paint it on. And then the last part of the base, we got Nergal's Rot, which I alluded to this earlier. I don't know if you can tell the difference on camera here, but the finished model has kind of a glossier, you know, kind of snotty looking base that this guy doesn't have yet. So once the washes start to dry a little bit more, I'll start throwing all that on. And now the wash might take a bit to dry, actually. What time even is it? Oh my god, it's almost 2:30. I legit thought it was like 12:30. Yeah, you know what? I'll actually call it there for now. Before I do, I'll put this guy on a pedestal and show him off. Tomorrow before or after work, I'll put on those last few details and I'll post pictures later. But yeah. Yeah, we started from basically this and got to this. And once it dries, it'll blend a bit better. The like details and everything. Yeah, that's my painting process, at least for these Death Guard guys. Looking forward to having all the details on them, but yeah, I think that'll probably it'll take at least 20 minutes to completely finish drying, so I'm gonna call it there for the night. Thanks to everyone who's joined us. Thanks to everyone who stuck around for basically the whole thing. This must have been like almost a 3.5 hour stream, so yeah. Thanks, this was fun, and I know I promised Austin a Santa themed orc. I will try and do another paint stream before December's over, so we can make that happen. Friday we might be doing that VR stream for the that MMO VR beta game. I have to see when that beta opens up. If not, I'm not sure yet, but we'll keep you all posted. Thanks for joining me tonight. I will see you all sometime soon. Until then, take care. Good luck with any final classes anyone has. Holiday season stress. Good luck with all that. Until next time, keep on digi living.